Hello YouTube. I hope you're having a fabulous weekend. Saturday. It is Saturday, February the 15th, and yesterday was Valentine's Day. And yeah, that fast. This year is going by really quickly. January is over and February is halfway done. So I'm gonna get right into it. Today I'm talking about Maya Angelou, Ella Fitzgerald, and Shirley Chisholm. I try to do at least 3 people, and I try not to make it too long because I know people I don't really know much about the people, and also I know people's attention span is short. So some people, like in my previous videos, I've had up to an hour long, and you guys listened and still commented, so that's dope. But I try to make sure to make it interesting and quick as possible. I know that for my last, I'm gonna do that probably the very last day of February. I'm gonna end it off on police brutality. I feel like that's something that needs to be talked about because it's been going on forever and it continues to go on. So I'm definitely gonna be talking about police brutality and the history of Rikers Island. And I'm gonna be talking about the foster care system, the history of that as well. I feel like it all ties in together. So just talking about the school to prison pipeline, it's real. Our black boys need to be prayed for. One of the things I wanted to do in life, especially after working for the DOE, I definitely want to open up some private schools and charter schools for black boys because I feel like they are the most forgotten. I could truly say, yes, charter school has their flaws, but if it wasn't for charter school, I really don't know where my son would be at. You do have good public schools. However, those are predominantly white and they don't really teach what they need to be teaching our black boys. Most of the children of color that go to good schools, they hate it. They'll verbalize it. They'll write it. So it's just really a shame how the public school system is set up, and people could say if it's racism, but it really also plays on admin. You know, you have principals that do things that are totally unnecessary. I don't know, I probably said this in a previous video. I actually worked for a principal. I'm not going to say her name. I'm going to be nice. But I worked for a principal in Brownsville. She was forced to resign because she took too much time off. She was addicted to the job, in my opinion, and she actually wrote a book. And in her book, she talks about how she sacrificed time with her daughter to be in the school, which I think is really ridiculous. That's not even admirable. That's just, you should never do that. Your child comes first, not a job. And she paid with it with her health, unfortunately, and she was forced to resign. And she actually had entrepreneurs, women only, come to the school and talk to the girls, and in the end, they had Panera Bread. And then for the boys, she took them to the morgue. And I remember, this is pre-pandemic, and I remember asking one of the teachers, what's that about? And sure enough, one of the boys came and was like, he was very jealous. He was like, how the girls got Panera Bread and we got to eat this school lunch. Oh, nah, I'm violated. And I didn't even intervene or say anything because I said to the teacher's face, I said, he has every right with the way he feels. If I'm a boy and I'm coming from a trip to the, first of all, why are you taking the boys to the morgue? What is that teaching them? That was just wrong. And I said, that's wrong. I said, you don't do stuff like that. You don't take black boys to the morgue because they hear that every day. Their brother, cousin, or somebody getting shot. They know, life growing up here in Brownsville, and then you as an educator think that that's a good idea to take them to the morgue. I just thought it was so diabolical, and I voiced my opinion. I said, that's wrong. You don't do that. What you should have did is you should have had all the kids together in the building. Everybody should have had Panera Bread, and you should have got some black brothers that's entrepreneurs. It's not hard to find. Like, you got plenty of black brothers that have businesses. You got plenty of black brothers that are educated and could have came and talked to the boys. Make it even. You got your sisters. Now, statistically, yes, black women have more businesses than black men. But you do have black men with businesses, though they may be small, okay? I'm going on a tangent. But yes, stuff like that, little things like that, from birth, black men are taught that they're insignificant. And this is why a lot of black men, they marry outside the race too, because they're constantly being told they're not good enough. They're constantly being told that, even you got some people that's like, oh, girls are smarter than boys. Who said that? Who said that? That's not true at all. If you apply yourself, you'll be smart. If you want to be smart, you'll be smart. It has nothing to do with gender. I hate that. And you only hear that in the black community. Girls are smarter than boys. Girls are more mature than boys, yes. So I would say, as far as like, if you have a little girl and a little boy in kindergarten, 9 times out of 10, that girl is going to have feelings for a boy. The boy is not going to be aware of his sexuality at 5. For most boys, they really don't understand crushes and liking. But for a girl, and I can say that because when I was in kindergarten, I had feelings for a boy and I kissed him. So his reaction was, he told on me. Like, he was a baby, so he don't understand what maybe he wasn't feeling me, I don't know. But that's just a perfect example of, yes, we are more mature as far as relationships. If you have a 16-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl, that girl is going to be thinking about marriage and kids, and the boy is like, hold on, I'm just taking you to the movies. So yes, the maturity is different. And even as a grown age, you have a 35-year-old woman and a 38-year-old man, she's still going to be thinking marriage and kids and a house, and he's like, yo, I just want to smash. Like, it's never going to be even. It's never going to be, sometimes the man could want more than a woman, but that's rare. But what I'm saying is, as far as intelligence goes, no. If you apply yourself, you could be smart. I know a lot of dumb women, a whole lot. So yeah, but just in general, we have to push the narrative. I try to talk about most of the black inventors are men. And I'm gonna definitely be talking about that later on. Today I'm talking about the ladies, but the next one will be Frederick Douglass, the judge from Amistad. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Our first person that I'll be talking about is Maya Angelou. Now, she was born April 4th, 1928, and she died May 28th, 2014. Now, most people know Maya Angelou, whatever, but I remember when she died, somebody thought she was the singer, and they thought it was a joke, and I'm like, oh no. So for the people in the back who never heard of her, you're gonna hear about her today. Maya Angelou, for me personally, is very inspirational, and I never met her, but I look up to her because her type of poetry is more than just poetry. She is what I considered, if they had genres for poetry, I would put her in soulful. She literally does poetry from the heart, and that's how I try to be. I try to make it authentic and real from the soul. She was a poet and a civil rights activist. That's why I picked her. She published 7 autobiographies, 3 books of essays, several books of poetry, and is credited with a list of plays, movies, and television shows spanning over 50 years. She did a cameo appearance on a Tyler Perry movie. I believe it was Family Reunion. She received dozens of awards and more than 50 honorary degrees. Angelou's series of 7 autobiographies focus on her childhood and early adult experiences. The first, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, tells of her life up to age 17 and brought her international recognition and acclaim. That's definitely a book I have to look into. Although she had a past, like we all do, she became a very extraordinary woman. She was a performer of Porgy and Bess, cast member of Southern Christian Leadership Conference, coordinator, correspondent in Egypt and Ghana during the decolonization of Africa. That's very dope. She was also an actress, writer, director, and producer of plays, movies, and public television programs. In 1982, she was named the first Reynolds Professor of American Studies at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She was active in the civil rights movement. I've never seen like pictures of her, but that's pretty dope. She worked with Dr. King and Malcolm X. Okay. In the 1990s, she made 80 appearances a year on the lecture circuit, something she continued in her 80s. Yeah. The inauguration of Bill Clinton, making her the first poet to make an inaugural recitation since Robert Frost. So that's really for poets everywhere. Like, she broke so many barriers. And so I would like to read her poem, A Phenomenal Woman. That's like my favorite one. That's pretty much like the only one I know of. I've heard of other poems, but I'm gonna read that one. So Google was acting a little weird, but I got it. A Phenomenal Woman. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built into suit a fashion model size. Well, maybe me, but her. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I am a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall on their knees. Oh, girl! Then they swarm around me like a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say it's the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. So that was Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. And so I'm going to get into Ella Jane Fitzgerald. Now, again, I'm talking about people that we don't really know about. I'm learning too. So I heard of Ella Fitzgerald, just like I heard of Nikki Giovanni, but I didn't really know what she did until I researched her. And Ella Jane Fitzgerald, that's a name that I've always heard, but I don't know anything about this woman. So Ella Jane Fitzgerald, April 25th, 1917, she was born, and she died June 15th of 1996. She was an American singer, songwriter, and composer, and sometimes referred as the First Lady of Song. She was the Queen of Jazz, Lady Ella. She was noted for her purity of tone, impeccable diction, phrasing, timing, and notation, absolute pitch, and horn-like improvisational ability, particularly in her scat singing. So scat singing is a vocal jazz expression, and it's an example would be like so sometimes they call it riffing, but that would be considered scat singing. So she was talented in that way. So her rendition of the nursery rhyme "A Tisket, a Tasket" helped boost both her and Webb to national fame. Chick Webb was an orchestrator. She also appeared in films and a guest on popular television on the second half of the 20th century, or I should say 21st century. But she also she created music with Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, and the Ink Spots. So yeah, she's one of the pioneers. Also, she began singing in Harlem, so she's one of those people. One thing that they all have in common, Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, and her, they're all from Harlem. So Harlem is like the heart of the Harlem Renaissance, which we know about. She performed at Apollo Theater, which is also like the birth of the Harlem Renaissance. That was a place where they all performed and did shows during that time. The Apollo Theater is still open in Harlem, New York. They have tons of different shows, from jazz to hip hop. They still have dancing. They have all type of shows there. If you're ever in the New York City area, Apollo is the place to be. She made her first tour in Australia in July 1954. And she shook hands with Ronald Reagan. She performed at the White House in 1981. So that was cool. And yeah, she died in 1996. I couldn't do these series of Black history without doing Shirley Chisholm. Now, even though Ella Fitzgerald, she didn't participate in any civil rights, anything, but she was the pioneer of the Harlem Renaissance. So for me, she played a part, because I'm pretty sure she went through things that we don't know about. Some things that people have gone through is written and told, but she played a big role in jazz, so that's why I wanted to talk about her. But Shirley Chisholm, most of us know about her. Her middle name is Anita. Shirley Anita Chisholm is her whole name. St. Hill. She was born November 30th, 1924. She died in 2005, January 1st. She was a politician who became the first Black woman to be elected in the United States Congress. She represented New York's 12th congressional district and district centered in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, for 7 terms from 1969 to 1983. In 1972, she became the first Black candidate for a major party nomination for the President of the United States. She was born in Brooklyn, New York, and she spent ages 5 through 9 in Barbados. She always considered herself a Barbadian American. She excelled at school and earned her college degree in the United States. She started working in early childhood education, and she became involved in local Democratic Party politics in the 1950s. She was elected New York State Assembly, and 4 years later, she was elected to Congress, where she led the expansion of food and nutrition programs for the poor and rose to party leadership. She received her BA, which is BA is Bachelor in Arts. So she received her BA from Brooklyn College. And her master's she received from Columbia University. So your girl was very educated. She was born to immigrant parents in New York City, Brooklyn. She's from Afro-Guyanese and Afro-Barbadian descent. She has 3 younger sisters. Her father is from Guyana, Guinea. Guyana, British Guinea, before moving to Barbados. Okay, so her mom came to New York City in 1921. So, okay. The Shirley Chisholm Project on Brooklyn Women's Activism, formerly known as the Shirley Chisholm Center for Research, exists at Brooklyn College to promote research projects and programs on women and to preserve Chisholm's legacy. That's dope. I never knew that about Brooklyn College. The Chisholm Project also houses an archive as part of the Chisholm papers in the college library special collections. In January 2018, Governor Cuomo announced his intent to build the Shirley Chisholm State Park. Yes. So if you are in the Brooklyn area, I just realized, wow, like Shirley Chisholm. So I live in Brownsville, and if East New York is like right next to me, I grew up in East New York, and right by Gateway Center, yes, they have a Shirley Chisholm Park. So she has her own park, and I think that's dope because even if people don't know who she is and what she did, at least she has a park, so people could be like, okay, she must have been an important person, which she was. But I didn't realize, like, wow, it's named after her. Like, I pass by it all the time when I go over there. And yeah, it's 3.5 miles. It's pretty big. Jamaica Bay coastline, adjoining the Pennsylvania Avenue, Spring Creek. So yes, it is in Spring Creek, but it's right next to Gateway Mall. You can't miss it. If you're on the bus, cab, you're gonna see it. And the park opened pre-pandemic, 2019. So yeah, her legacy sticks out to me because she spoke up for women, for civil rights, and her legacy will live on. So those are the 3 people that I chose to talk about. And Maya Angelou, the good thing about her literature is easy to get online. Again, the poem that I read was A Phenomenal Woman. She has plenty of other poems you could look up. And those are my thoughts.